welcome to the Payoff Pitch. My name is Joey Olberding, and I will be your host for all things sports. So, on this Wednesday, June 26th, I'm going to talk about the NBA and a whole lot of things in the NBA. That includes trades, drafts, finals, and free agents. That's the combo right there, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. There's a whole lot that's gone on in the NBA that I just haven't talked about. I have not talked about the finals. I didn't talk about how the Raptors won. I never even mentioned, I did predictions I talked about the draft somewhat, but I didn't go into too much detail, and of course the draft just happened, and of course there's free agency, something that I'm of course going to talk about. So, let's just start. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis got traded from the New Orleans Pelicans to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Pelicans got a real good return from him. They got Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and a few picks, and they traded one of those picks in Solomon Hill. They traded down, but they got rid of Solomon Hill, which was their real bad contract, and now they have a really good team heading in, especially with picking up Zion Williamson. But the Davis trade was great, and I do not know why the Lakers did this. Davis is really good. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He might be the best forward in the NBA, forward/center, whatever. But man, you got rid of a lot of good players. Ingram basically by himself. If you did not give Lonzo Ball up and you gave everybody else, I would still say that the Pelicans got the better end of the deal. But that's not what happened. You got Lonzo, get rid of any of those players, and I'd probably still be like, this is an okay trade to really good trade. But the Pelicans got the really good trade. And now the Lakers are just in a really tight spot, because who are they going to put out there next year? Seriously, it's really in disbelief. They have a few young guys. They have 3 young guys, I think, and then LeBron, and then AD, and maybe somebody else. I don't know. But yeah, not looking too good. Great haul by the Pelicans, especially now that they got Zion and Jackson Hayes. Those two will be really good. So yeah, that's a good transition to the draft. Zion Williamson, he got taken number 1 to the surprise of tons, maybe everybody. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Really, everybody thought it was going to be Ja Morant first. I'm kidding. Zion is going to be very good. That is the hottest take of the year, I know. Jackson Hayes, the guy that they got, actually from Cincinnati, apparently. He looks pretty good, too. The Pelicans got a really good draft just because they got Zion. They're going to have 2 rookies probably starting. Maybe not Hayes. They'd have to pick up a center, which maybe I'll talk about later in the free agency portion. Ooh. But yeah, good for them, man. Good for them. They got their man. They got their guy. And then I think Ja Morant is going to be fantastic as well. He's a real playmaker, and he just has talent. I think that might be just as good as Zion Williamson, and I think Zion's going to be pretty good. He's going to be really good, in fact. RJ Barrett will also be good. Something about the Knicks that maybe I'm alone in thinking is that the Knicks are going to be a lot like the Cavaliers were last year. And the fact that they got some good players, but their offense is going to be led around the rookie, like how Colin Sexton was that for them for the Cavaliers last year, not the Knicks. I think that's what might happen. Unless the Knicks, who have a lot of cap space, get somebody really good in free agency, which I do not predict them doing, then yeah. Now, you may be asking, why do you not expect the Knicks to get somebody really good in free agency? Well, Uh, I feel like a lot of the free agent class has already been kind of like solidified in a way. And I don't like saying that because it's still rumor season, but a lot of these rumors are coming to fruition really quickly, and a lot of the rumors look pretty solidified, I would say. Um it as much as a rumor could be, of course. Yeah, but I'm going to continue about the draft. The draft in general was pretty good. There's a huge gap, like between the 3 pick and like the 4 pick. there's a big gap there, but then there was like no gap between the 4 or 5 pick and like the 25th pick. So that was it was quite an interesting draft because you never knew who was going to be taken, but there were no real surprises in the draft. There were a lot of trades, but all the players except for like Bol kind of went where they were expected to go, I think. And Bol makes sense because he has like injury issues, like issues with how much he cares about the game, stuff like that. Stuff that you do not want to see in a player, but it's a whole thing. Other than that, it was pretty. Yeah, nothing really shocking. Nothing quite like the Trae Young and Luka Doncic trade, which that trade is looking better and better for both sides. I thought when that happened that the Mavericks, easily got the better end of the deal. I was saying, Hawks, what were you doing? That is the stupidest play you could make in your life. And while it's not that bad, Trae Young's really good, but Luka Doncic is really, really good. There's a reason he won Rookie of the Year. So, yeah. All right, NBA Finals. You got the Toronto Raptors versus the Golden State Warriors. And the Raptors win. They win their first NBA Finals in their history. Good for them. Yeah, good for the Raptors. I gotta say, the Raptors really, really were entertaining. They were much more entertaining than the Warriors, and I'm not just saying that because they won, but their players are really fun to watch. Kawhi Leonard's really fun to watch. Fred VanVleet, he hit like the most clutch shots. Serge Ibaka, I've always been a big Serge Ibaka fan. Yeah, they had a lot of fun players, and Marc Gasol too. Yeah, and I was thinking Steph Curry was gonna LeBron James himself into making this a series again, but there's only one LeBron James for a reason, and Steph Curry, as great as he is, I mean, you can't expect that out of anybody. And even when you expect it from a guy like LeBron, which why would you do that? You should never expect somebody to just single-handedly win a championship. But I digress. Yeah, I saw people around ESPN and places like that. They were criticizing Steph Curry for like not leading his team to a championship or something stupid like that. And it's exactly what I just said. You can't expect that to happen, especially when all your guys go down with injury. It's exactly what happened to the Cavs in 2016. And I mean, they were lucky. They were lucky to face a Warriors team that really wasn't in it, but the Raptors were in it, and the Warriors once again didn't seem to play as well just because they were losing guys to injury. They were obviously trying to win. Let's not say that they weren't. The Raptors just did a really, really good job. And respect to them, man. Respect to them. Kawhi Leonard, he hit a lot of clutch shots. Probably none more clutch than in that 76ers series. I mean, that was the second best shot of the playoffs. Number one shot was Dame Lillard for sure. That's maybe the greatest shot I've seen in the postseason. In my young viewing career of 16 years, what I've seen from Damian Lillard is just crazy. Two shots, man, at the buzzer to win series. I think pretty crazy. Blazers did really well too, but yeah, I think the Warriors, they lost a lot of ground. They were losing KD. they're probably losing Boogie. And I don't know if they're going to get anybody to sign with them. I don't predict them doing that because they don't really have the cap space either because they're going to sign Klay Thompson to a max probably. Um, so we'll just have to see, I guess. But uh, now that I'm kind of talking about free agents, I may as well get into that too because that's a whole thing. All right. So I got 17 free agents, I think, if I'm right, that I predict are gonna go places. Whether they be the same places or different places, you'll just have to see. So I'm gonna start from the quote unquote worst to the quote unquote best, even though it may not necessarily be that. DeAndre Jordan played for the Mavericks, then played for the Knicks. Next, I think he's going to play for the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets. And that may be weird to some because the Nets have Jarrett Allen, who I think is much better. But it's kind of interesting, right? Because the Nets have room for two superstars, and DeAndre Jordan is not a superstar. But there have been rumors circulating around that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving might want to join Brooklyn and are trying to recruit DeAndre Jordan as well. Now, I've heard a lot about this rumor, and I think that it makes sense. I really do. Brooklyn is in a great position if you are a superstar who wants to come in. They have room for superstars, but they have a great team on top of it. D'Angelo Russell is the one who's kind of leading that, but D'Angelo Russell is on the way out. So that leaves room for a guy like Kyrie to come on in. And I'm not even saying that he's going to go there because we haven't gotten to my prediction in Kyrie Irving yet. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. You'll just have to see. But DeAndre Jordan, I think, is going to the Nets. I don't know if they're going to ship out Allen or what. Maybe they move Allen to the point. I don't know if he can play the point. I don't think he can play the point. I don't think Jordan can play the point either. Can he? I don't know. What are you going to do with that? Why is Jordan going to the Nets? I don't know, but Kyrie's recruiting, and I don't know, man. If they want Jordan there, they're going to get Jordan there. I mean, the thing is, if you're the Nets organization and you have a choice between DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving, and KD against Jarrett Allen and D'Angelo Russell, not even D'Angelo Russell, just Allen, I mean, you're going to have to ship out Allen somehow if you really want that. Maybe I don't know. It's a weird thing, right? That's a tough choice if you're the Nets because you have a great winning culture already. If you re-sign Russell, then like your team's only improving. Russell's only like what, 20, 23, 24, 25? I don't know, he's young. So yeah, I think that the Nets will probably make the right decision. They've made the right decision almost all the time in their new coaching staff after Jason Kidd. Yeah, they've mostly made the right decisions. Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol played for the Raptors. I predict he's still going to play for the Raptors because he has a player option. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. The Raptors, he's kind of their center. He is their center. It's him and Serge. Serge is at the point, though, and Marc Gasol is their center. And Marc Gasol was great for the Raptors this year when he played for them. He was also great for the Grizzlies this year when he played for them. Another center. Let's just get rid of all the centers first. Seriously, I have 5 centers in a row. I didn't realize that. Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez played really well for the Bucks last year. Really well. And the Bucks have a lot of oncoming free agents. And I don't think that they're going to take the time to re-sign Lopez, even though I think that they should. Because Lopez is as important to a team like the Bucks as any of the other players on the market that come from the Bucks. I predict that he's going to go to the Celtics, and the Celtics are in a weird position because Kyrie Irving can leave, Al Horford can leave. Both of them are already leaving. But even still, when they're losing maybe their 2 best players, they still have Gordon Hayward, they still have Jaylen Brown, they still have Jason Tatum, they still have Terry Rozier, they still have Robert Williams. They still got good players. They still have a chance to win. A good chance to win. And the thing is, Brook Lopez doesn't really have injury concerns either. Brook Lopez might be pricey though. He's his value is on the rise more and more over the past couple years. He's just been really consistently good. Um, but he is a good starting center for the Celtics because they still want to make the postseason. And I think that they can if they make the right decisions here. Now, speaking of the Celtics and Al Horford, let's talk about Al Horford. Al Horford is basically narrowed down to two teams at this point. It's the Clippers and the Mavericks. I don't really know why the Mavericks would go after Horford because the Mavericks probably want to go after Kemba Walker. But Al Horford is a solid player. But, I mean, if I'm the Mavericks, I'm definitely trying to, persuade Kemba to get on that team rather than Al Horford. Because Al Horford is really being, I would say, a little overvalued. He's getting a lot of money, it looks like, especially for a guy who's turning 35 next year. Al Horford's great, seriously. I think Al Horford is a fantastic player. I love him. I really do. He has a great play style. But, I mean, that's a lot of money. And I think that the Mavericks will play this smart, and then he'll go to the Clippers. The Clippers, I hear a lot of people talking about, they're going to try to go after Kawhi Leonard. And they might. But if I'm the Clippers, I would just stick with what you got for the most part. Maybe get a few more players since Patrick Beverley left. But you got a really good squad. Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. And you got, like, Shamet or whatever his name is. You got some good young players. And Lou Williams isn't young, but for the most part, you got good young players. Horford is not a young player, but he is a really good leader. So I think he'll go to the Clippers. DeMarcus Cousins took a pit stop in Golden State. He said it was a pit stop from the very start. I don't predict that changing. So I think DeMarcus Cousins is on the out. And, something about the Cavs last year was that even though their offense was focused around Colin Sexton, they still had, like, Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love, even though Kevin Love was out for the majority of the year, I believe. And I think that sort of good veteran inside presence is going to be DeMarcus Cousins. Because the Knicks want to get a really good player. But like I said, I really don't think that they'll get that. And DeMarcus Cousins can be really good, and he'll probably be pretty cheap because of the fact that he's had a lot of injuries in the past few years. But his peak is, like, maybe as good as Anthony Davis. So I think that can just be great. He can be the best center in the league when he's healthy and not yelling at refs. I think the Knicks will go after him. Maybe a few teams will, but his injury concerns, man. And he's also turning 30 this year, I think. So 30 is still, like, prime age, but in the age of NBA teams, wanting youth over everything else, I think Cousins is going to be looked at as a value thing, as something that isn't really. The weird thing is, Horford's gonna get more money than DeMarcus Cousins, and that's the weirdest thing. It's gonna be exactly what happened last year to Cousins again because he got injured in the postseason, which really sucks for him. But he's going to the Knicks. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but that's just my prediction. It may be weird that I have J.J. Redick ahead of all the guys I just mentioned. This is because I took it from a random list I found on CBS Sports, and I didn't order them and who I actually thought was better. So my fault, I guess. But I think Brook Lopez is better. I think Cousins is better. I think Horford's better. I think Gasol's better, not Jordan. J.J. Redick. He's a really, really good shooter, and I think the 76ers need him. He's been really important. He's probably been the best offense that's not Joel Embiid. I would even say he's better than Simmons. He leads the offense better than Simmons. He's a much better shooter than Simmons. And Simmons is great, but J.J. Redick has really been a huge huge spark plug for them. If they didn't have JJ Redick, the 76ers would be a whole different team. And you may say, well, JJ Redick just shoots, right? Well, yeah, but he's also a leader. He's a leader that the 76ers don't have. A veteran leader that they didn't have. They had Wilson Chandler, but I believe that he left for free agency, if I'm not mistaken. And then they have all these other guys who are on the out. Maybe if they re-sign Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris, but JJ Redick's going to be relatively cheap, cheaper than the other two guys. And the 76ers should get him back since they just had a great postseason run. And since JJ Redick's turning, I also believe, 35 next year, they can get him on the cheap. Old contract. Great words. Another guy who I think is kind of underrated, like JJ Redick, is Malcolm Brogdon, or how I like to call him, Brogdon. I don't actually like calling him that. I think he's going to go to the Clippers, another Clippers guy. The Clippers' whole team is very built around the team, like how the Celtics used to be, but didn't after Kyrie Irving. So, yeah, I think he fits well in the Clippers because Brogdon is one of the smartest players in the NBA, and he won Rookie of the Year a few years ago. Everybody forgets that 2017 Rookie of the Year because that's also the year Embiid kind of made his rookie debut, but not really. Brogdon did great for the Bucks though, and I don't think the Bucks will re-sign him either because they're going to be focused on Chris Middleton. But will Chris Middleton be re-signed? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't have to. Anyways, Clippers. Yeah, I think he'll fit well in the Clippers, and he can play the point after Patrick Beverley left for free agency. Yeah, Brogdon's great. I think that he'll do really well in the Clippers, and he fits the Clippers really well. Now we're starting to get into the bigger names. D'Angelo Russell. I just mentioned that what will the Nets do? Will they keep him? Will they not keep him? Yeah, I don't think they'll keep him. I think they'll try to go for the other guys. And I think D'Angelo Russell, as ironic as it seems, is going to sign with the Celtics. Because, I mean, they need a point guard. Terry Rozier is not a starting point guard. He's played well, but he is nowhere near a starting point guard at the moment. He did not do well last year. D'Angelo Russell did really well last year, and he's still young. And once again, the Celtics are prioritizing young talent because that's kind of their thing, or it has been for the past 2 years. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Rozier, whatever. Russell's good, man. He's really, really good. He played just about as well as Irving did last year, and that's weird to say because, when you think of the two, you think Kyrie's way ahead of Russell, but not really. It'll take a lot to get him, though, because he's young and so good. It'll definitely be a long contract. I would say around what the Kyrie Irving contract was a few years ago. Honestly. So, yeah. Celtics. Russell. Nikola Vucevic. I believe his first All-Star appearance was last year, and he deserved it. He's been the cornerstone for the Magic. People always say Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon's always hurt. Vucevic has been incredibly consistent, and now he's on the free agent market. And I think he's going to go to a team who needs a center and is also in the race for the Western Conference now after a great offseason. And that would be the New Orleans Pelicans. I've heard rumors, they were recently debunked, but there were rumors of Al Horford maybe going to the Pelicans. But no, that's no longer a thing, but they still need a center. Jackson Hayes, like I mentioned, is not really a starting caliber center because he's a rookie. Zion's different because, he's a prodigy or whatever, gotta have him start. Yeah, Vucevic is really good. He's proven to be one of the best centers in the league, and I'm not just saying that because I'm saying that about everybody. He really has. He's like Brook Lopez, but younger and a bit better. Though Lopez is more of a leader. He's still going to be looked at as a bargain, even though he made his first All-Star appearance last year. People are saying Horford's better than Vucevic. And, while I agree to an extent, Vucevic is also way younger, and I he's you know what you're gonna get from him too. Horford's turning 35 next year, and age is weird in the NBA because you can have guys who really fall downhill when they get like past 33. Like I don't know, Allen Iverson fell off. Guys like that. But then you have guys like JJ Redick who just stay afloat. Vince Carter. So you never know. You'd rather have a younger guy like Vucevic, is all I'm saying. Chris Middleton, Bucks. They will do everything to re-sign him. You need a second guy who's really good behind Giannis, and Chris Middleton is just that. They will pay a lot for him. But I mean, if I'm the Bucks, you have to. You have to. Like Chris Middleton is better than Brook Lopez and Malcolm Brogdon. Even though I like Brook Lopez more, Chris Middleton is an incredibly important part. So yeah, that's my prediction. This one's a bit of a weird one, and a lot of you may think, what? That's out of nowhere. That's the weirdest thing you've said all day. Tobias Harris. I think he's going to go to the Heat. This is a weird prediction, but it is a prediction nonetheless. I think he's going to go to the Heat because the Heat are in a win-now position. They could get rid of everybody, but their players are, past 30, and they have a chance for one last run. So I think that they're going to make one last run. And Tobias Harris is a great player. He's going to be looked at as worse than Jimmy Butler, his teammate from the 76ers. But the Heat are going to get him, and I think so because for coverage of the NBA draft, I watched a thing on Bleacher Report where he and Josh Hart, recent New Orleans Pelican, were just talking about the draft. And the reporter asked a few questions like, oh, where are you looking at for free agency? Apparently, he's not going back to the 76ers, is all I know. And he said, well, I like Miami. But he said that he accidentally let it slip. So, Miami Heat. Yeah, I think it really does make sense. Tobias Harris is one of those players who's really good that could go just about anywhere. You don't know where he's going to go. He could go to the Nuggets even. I don't know. That's just a random team that popped in my head. He could go to the Trailblazers to make one final push. He could go to the Suns because the Suns, they have good young players. I'm not sure that they're going to be good, but hey, you may as well try. But yeah, Tobias Harris, I think he's going to go to the Heat. Jimmy Butler, the 76ers, I say, already re-signed JJ Redick, and that may be a bit expensive, but Jimmy Butler was really important for the 76ers last year, as was Tobias Harris. And if the 76ers want more offense that doesn't come from Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler is probably going to be your best bet. The 76ers, even though at first they were very on the homegrown talent train, not trade. Well, they traded all their homegrown talent. So there you go. They get Jimmy Butler back from the Timberwolves in exchange for Covington and Saric. And yeah, that was a good trade, and I don't think the 76ers want to just get rid of him after giving up some really important players like that. They're going to try to re-sign him. And then there's a whole Rockets thing where the Rockets might get Butler, and I don't even know what's up with that. But hey, that's also a thing, so who knows? I sure don't. I think the 76ers will get him back no matter what, whether they trade him or not. I don't know. Should they? No. The Rockets shouldn't be looking for another player. They should focus on what they have. But maybe they shouldn't because they lost to the Warriors. I don't know. The 76ers are going to re-sign Jimmy Butler, okay? I don't know anything else past that. Kristaps Porzingis basically already signed a deal with the Mavericks. Klay Thompson basically already signed a deal with the Warriors. Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker's had a lot of talk about him just because Kemba Walker is really good at basketball. I've always been a big Kemba Walker fan. I really have. Ever since he came in... No, not even before he came into the league. When he was with UConn. And then he won a title with them. I always thought, this Kemba Walker kid, he's going to be really good someday. And I was right, which made me happy. Kemba Walker, I think he's going to stay in Charlotte. because Charlotte can offer the most money because they have the Supermax because he was all NBA this year. I think it was second team, maybe third team, but it doesn't matter. If you're on the All NBA, you qualify for a Supermax. And the Charlotte Hornets are a lot like the Heat, where they're in an awkward position, but they are in a win now mode. But they could get rid of all their players. But I think that they want to stick with Kemba and try to build pieces around him this year because they have good players on them. They have solid players, but they don't have anybody else really good, and they're gonna give up all their money to get Kemba back. So they're really in the weirdest position out of anybody. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. He went to a Blue Jays game. That means he's going back to Toronto. I mean, I actually do think that, so like I can't even really joke about it. I don't think that necessarily means that he's going back to the Raptors, but I think it's more likely than not. I just think that, his work's not done there. Even though he got to a finals and won the finals, the Raptors will do anything to get him back. They will get rid of other players to get Kawhi back because Kawhi was the spark plug they needed. If they did not have Kawhi, they would not have even gone to the finals, let alone win it. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on that. And then Kyrie Irving, he wants to play for a good team, and he can hook up with a superstar in Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. And by the same idea, I think that Kevin Durant is also going to go to the Nets. There have been a lot of rumors, like I've said. There's been stuff about what if Kyrie goes to the Knicks? What if Kevin Durant also goes to the Knicks? What about the Clippers? What about the Lakers? People are saying that the Lakers are going to get another superstar, and even if they do, that's going to be the stupidest idea that I've ever heard. Because, 3 superstars always works. Multiple superstars always works. There's never been a time where you get multiple superstars that's never worked. I am kidding. Yeah. So with that, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Payoff Pitch. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, search up Clark Montessori Athletics on YouTube. Check us out on TuneIn Radio 95.7 MRC. There's also a website, MRC 95.7 MRC even. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Payoff Pitch. And check us out for more Payoff Pitch and so much more.